Wednesday morning, my friends. Can you believe it is Wednesday already? It is. And I'm Pastor Ben Hayes from First Baptist Church, Dadeville, Alabama, bringing you our thought for the day on what's going to be a wonderful Wednesday as every day is, because this is the day the Lord has made. So let us rejoice and be glad in it. And in that gladness, let's find a way to serve Him, to honor Him, to glorify Him today. Don't forget men's Bible study, 10 a.m. this morning. And then tonight, 4:45, family night supper, 5:45, children, youth, Bible study, prayer. And then after that, celebration choir, handbell choir in there too. So don't forget that. But right now we're in Galatians chapter 3, picking up in verse 19, and we're coming to the crux of Paul's argument, the reason for writing this letter. Now, we've already talked about how God has justified us through faith in Jesus Christ by His grace outside of the works of the law, that the curse of the law was taken care of through Jesus' death on the cross. So the question is, what purpose then does the law serve? If no one has ever been saved through the law, what purpose does the law serve? And so we're getting to the answer that has affected every person that has ever been tempted to go back into the under the restrictions of the law. And Paul tells us in Romans that the law is a weighty burden that no man can handle. And that's the problem with the law, because all it does is crush us. Well, look what he says. What purpose then does the law serve? It was added because of transgressions. Well, what does that mean? Well, it means that men were sinning and they needed to understand that they were sinning. Now, in their hearts, they knew there's certain things, right? Every culture understands that murder is wrong. It's part of who we are. God has given us that ability. Paul talks about that in Romans 1, that creation declares the glory of God, and in that He has given us that conscience that makes us aware of the things that are right and things that are wrong. But the law was given because of transgressions, to lay out the boundary for us, to say you can go this far but no farther, that this is the way that you must live your life to be a moral and upright being. Not enough to get you saved, but to break the law is enough to get you condemned. All right? So the law was given because of transgression. Also, till the seed should come to whom the promise was made. The law was there to show the way to the coming Messiah. The seed, the one promised in Genesis 3 that would crush the head of the serpent. Messiah. Until Messiah comes, the law was in place to help people understand that there's only one way to be justified. The blood that is shed in the sacrificial system was not enough, but it was representative of the blood that Jesus would shed on the cross of Calvary. And so the law was there until the seed should come to whom the promise was made. Now, this next part's a little tricky. And it was appointed through angels by the hand of a mediator. Well, we know, because we've read the book of Exodus, we know that Moses went up to Mount Sinai and God printed the 10 Commandments on the stone tablets for Moses and handed them to him. But where did the angels come into play? Well, we know that angels surrounded the mountain, and the glory of God was seen in the fact that the angels were there. We get that. But the Jewish tradition says that angels were heavily involved in the giving of the law to Moses and the people of Israel. Now, Paul accepts that tradition in this, but here's the important part. It was given through a mediator, a man, Moses. So whether it was angels or God, and I believe it was God, God handed those tablets to Moses. Moses became the mediator. Now, human mediators are flawed. And we see that in Moses. Moses disobeyed God and did not see the promised land because of that. So what he's trying to say is that it was inferior to this covenant of grace that we now have, because there is only one mediator between God and man, and that is the man, Jesus Christ, not Moses. Now, Moses was important. Moses was an amazing leader, just like Abraham. But Jesus is the only one who has the ability to bring us into the presence of God. Moses couldn't do that. In fact, Moses protected the people from the presence of God, so to speak. They said, Moses, we don't want to talk to God. We're afraid of God. You talk to God for us. And Moses stood in that gap. Jesus says, here, let me bring the two of you together. By my shed blood, the grace of God poured out on Calvary's cross, through your faith in that sacrifice, your belief that I'm the Messiah, your belief that I was raised from the dead, your belief that I have the power to save, I'm bringing you together with the Father. So now you're in an eternal relationship, a family that will never change. What an amazing promise. Think about that today. I hope you're part of the family. Be blessed. I'll see you back here tomorrow.